Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Padma Seshadri Balabhavan group of schools has carved a niche in the educational landscape of India and has a proud history that spans over 60 years. Listen to our notable alumni echoing their impactful experiences, soaked in reverence and gratitude to the legendary educationist, their loving big miss, Dr. Mrs. YGP, and her team of dedicated teachers. We are extremely happy that PSBB is coming out with a new video series of nostalgic interviews titled Our Glorious Aluminus. Each episode of this series will unfold our proud alumna and alumnus of PSBB, sharing their experiences at school and how these unforgettable moments shape their lives. We hope this series flashes a spotlight on PSBB's rich annals that will inspire us to rededicate ourselves to our glorious past and move towards an even more glorious and radiant future. We hope that you would enjoy listening and watching these episodes as much as we would. Thank you.
Hello to everyone watching. On behalf of the Padma Seshadri group of institutions, it's our pleasure to bring you a brand new series on our YouTube channel that we call Our Glorious Aluminus. Our Glorious Aluminus is a series of stories where we profile the trailblazing, high-achieving alumni of PSBB across batches, across fields, who've created a mark in all our lives. My name is Venki Srinivasan. I'm an alumnus myself of the 1995 batch of PSBB, and I'm what I call myself a PSBB lifer because I began my schooling in LKG in 1981 at PSBB KK Nagar and finished there in 1995. I'm going to be hosting this show, and on all your behalf, I'm going to be interviewing some of these wonderful alumni who've graced this occasion, consented to be here and share their stories with us. To kick off this season of Our Glorious Aluminus, we have a really wonderful person, a very apt and appropriate person, I would say, a champion, a national level champion, a sporting champion, someone who's blazed a trail in the field of table tennis. He's represented India with great distinction. He's won the Commonwealth Games gold medal. And in 2022, he was awarded what can be considered India's highest sporting honor, the Khel Ratna. Please join me in welcoming Sharath Kamal. Welcome, Sharath. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me over.
Okay, Sharath. So you are a 2000 batch alumnus from TP Road / Nungambakam, I can say. You have to begin by telling us what are your memories of school. What is the first thing you remember about Padma Seshadri?
I joined school, Padma Seshadri, in my 4th standard and continued until my 12th. I took up commerce in my 11th and 12th. So those, once I started in the school and I was also playing table tennis at that point in time, my father was the coach in TP Road and KK Nagar for table tennis. And I do remember a lot of kids playing table tennis. At that
really? Nice.
Time. Yeah, almost around 60 to 80 kids.
Oh, that's a big number. Okay.
Yeah. And we, in the beginning, now we still have the block with 5 tables. Earlier, it was attached roof where there were 3 to 4 tables.
And lots of kids wanting to play.
It's wanting to play. But yes, a lot of support from the school and especially the games teacher, Mr. Dilip Kumar. He was very passionate about table tennis.
Okay.
So he was the one who had asked my father to come across and see if the space was good enough for some coaching, and that's how it all started.
But, let me also ask you in parallel. I mean, of course, you grew up in a family where your father was a table tennis player and coach himself. How did your table tennis journey begin? What is the earliest? When did you first pick up a TT racket?
Like, I keep telling that I started the sport at a very tender age of 4.
Okay.
But there have been people who saying that they've seen me in the club at 2.
At 2? Okay.
So more or less like it was an evening outing for me. So Dad used to take me along with that to the club. And I used to be there probably, not playing table tennis, but just hanging around with the kids. They would take care of me, babysit me for a while, and Dad was working. So my introduction to table tennis was at a very, very young age. I still remember there are a couple of pictures where, my dad is lifting me up on his hip
and you're playing.
Yeah, I'm like trying to play, but I was still way below the table. So those are some pictures which tells me this. I've been playing for a very long time. And that was how I got introduced into the sport. But already by the age of 10 or 11, I started a very strong liking for the sport.
Okay.
And I used to wake my dad up in the mornings to say, okay, come on.
So reverse. எல்லாருக்கும் வந்து வீட்ல எழுந்துக்கிறதான் கஷ்டம். You used to wake your dad up yourself.
My dad up. So that is how the roles reversed. And then also for my parents, it was quite easy to support me in this line. And coming into the academic part, school was completely in favor of support, in this. If they said, if you can clearly see that this is what you're liking to do and you're doing well in it, of course, then there was clear support. There was never a time from school where I said, missing class, or, you have to write your exams properly. Or, of course, I used to get pass marks, and there used to be a year-end cumulative with 70%. Of course. I had to get that. And I used to
that they were comfortably getting.
Right. I was getting that. 60 to 70% I used to get. And the teachers were also, there were very few times, instances where the teacher was like, hey, I still remember it was my 11th standard. So I had missed school for a long period.
Because you were out playing a tournament.
Yes. Then I had come to school. 3-4 days later, so I didn't do my homework. So teacher was like, either you don't come to school, or if you come, you're not doing your homework. You need to buck up. So, of course, those are, but I think I've had very good classmates also who helped me, cope up with the thing. In 9th standard, I still remember we have those file sheets. So my partner, he used to have a carbon copy and write it on 2 sheets. And
so
then
you get one copy.
He would give me a sheet.
Right.
So at that time, we didn't think about Xeroxing, making a copy, by a photostat, where I can manage both table tennis and academics.
Did you ever feel, I mean, the school was obviously very supportive, parents were very supportive, that's an amazing thing. Did you personally ever feel that, ayyo, நம்ம வந்து academicsல நல்லா பண்ணல, table tennis வந்து ஒரு sport வந்து we are taking a chance, suppose இது work out ஆகலனா என்ன பண்றது அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி?
அது school timeல இல்ல, those doubts didn't come in school, because at school I was still okay, the career is,
a long way ahead.
Yeah. Those doubts I had after college.
Okay.
In between, when I was going to finish college, and you're thinking about what you're going to do next. Are you in the right path? If you're not, so there were sleepless nights, both for myself and my parents. But I still remember 10th standard when I had to decide
commerce,
sports, all that. Anna University had already given me an opportunity, saying that in 12th standard, if you get 60% in your science, the main 3 subjects,
we'll give you admission.
Wow. Whichever department you want.
Yeah, you had already been spotted that.
Yes.
Because of your sports.
Because I already played for state, and for them the state level.
When did you? What age did you first play for the state?
Oh, under 12.
Under 12.
Under 12,
you were the state champion.
I was the state champion.
Oh, fantastic.
So I started doing well at the state level, but breaking into the national level was what took a lot of time, and that was when I had those doubts. I've been doing very well in the state level, but I was not able to break the national level scenario. I really didn't have to take any kind of major permission. Of course, there was an instance when in my 12th standard, I'd missed my 12th standard was my first year into the senior category.
Okay.
So I started playing for the senior category. So I'd finished under 18, under 17. So that was the first year I'm playing.
You'd broken through into the senior.
Into the seniors. So until half yearly, missed a lot of school, missed half yearly exams also. 12th standard, most important year, missed the half yearly exams. No questions asked, no problem. Then coming into January, that time there were the APS exams.
Right.
So the model exams for the board exams. So APS exams were announced, and I got my first chance to represent India.
Oh, wow.
And the principal back then was Bhagya Lakshmi ma'am. So I went and told Bhagya ma'am, ma'am, an opportunity is coming. She was like, half yearly how well you prepared, we don't know about, how you're going to do
with the board.
And we don't want to have a bad name because we've always had a very good percentage in the 12th standard. So we want to stand up to the reputation. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me ask Mrs. YGP. We'll ask her. She'll come in the afternoon. We'll ask her. And then I was like, all through the day, I was very scared. Yeah. Then Periyamma had come, and Mrs. Bhagya had called me along with our class teacher, Bhavani ma'am. We had all gone there, and what is the issue? She answered. Bhagya ma'am explained.
India represented.
Yeah, but he's missed the earlier half-yearly also. This also is going to miss. He's got only one revision exam and the board exams. What shall we do? So Mrs. YGP asked Bhagya, ma'am, from our school, நம்ம ஸ்கூல்ல இருந்து எத்தனை பேர் இந்தியா ரெப்ரசென்ட் பண்ண முடியும் அப்படின்னு கேட்டாங்க. Bhagya said, no, nobody can do that. It's only him. So we should give him that opportunity.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a very, kind of normal thing today, but it is, like you said, it's such amazing vision to say, you go play, you are representing the country. How many people will get the chance?
Exactly.
Fantastic. What else do you think you learnt in school, or that was, inculcated in you in school, which helped you throughout your sporting career?
Most importantly, the all-roundedness, the all-round development of a personality. We were never like, okay, maths you need to get so much, or physics you need to, or commerce you need to get so much. There's never that. There was always encouragement to do. We had those elections back then. We had our culturals.
The other thing for you as a top-notch professional international sports person is the extreme sense of discipline you need to maintain in your daily routine, right? Tell us about how did that sense of discipline get inculcated in you, and what sort of routine do you maintain?
I think coming from a sporting family, it was
little easier.
It was, little bit easier, because I still remember back in those days, there was Doordarshan 1, Doordarshan 2 on TV, and there was the cable TV that started coming with all the channels. So my dad and mom, both of them said, we're not going to take cable TV. My mom, sacrificed that. She said, it's okay, no problem, the kids are more important. And I still remember when we come back from training in the night, eat dinner, do your homework, and by 10, lights were off. You had to go to sleep, and of course you're tired after that.
But no distractions.
No distraction, and wake up every morning. So the thing was pretty much set by my parents at that point in time. And coming into the school, I could clearly see a lot of kids, especially, I still remember 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, at that point in time, I was clearly able to understand that I was lagging in my academics. And when I was asking the kids who were studying well, what do they do? Then they're saying they did nothing special. At that point in time, I didn't understand. Well, how is that they're doing nothing special, but they're able to get such high marks?
So much.
But it's just that they have a clear routine. They are very strict with the routine that they have, and what they're doing is 100% of what they're doing.
Focus off.
The focus is there. They know I'm doing this, and that's slowly inculcated in myself also.
So you spoke about your friends and your teachers. So who were your favorite teachers?
There were a lot of favorite teachers. When I was in TP Road, we had Ambika ma'am. She was a geography teacher. We had Pushpa ma'am. Pushpa Vijayaraghavan, English teacher. We then into main school. Then we had Bhavani ma'am was quite nice. We had a very good relationship. Even after I passed out of school, we still had a very good relationship. Then there's Devkumar sir. You'll always remember him. They are all part of the your upbringing. My first games teacher, of course, Dilip sir was in TP Road. Then there's William sir in main school. So these teachers, they were actually Hemlata ma'am for history. The way she takes the class was fantastic. The history was told in the way of a story, and you just take running notes, and that was not the regular mainstream way of teaching.
Very nice. So I want to ask you, what about these teachers still makes you remember them?
Yeah, it's because of the way they could, the warmth they brought around with them, and the way they taught us. We still remember those concepts, those topics in such a vivid manner. That is because of the way they taught us those subjects. So even Mr. Devakumar, the way he could teach accountancy and commerce, he would take very short time, but the concept was very clearly understood by all the kids.
What about your batchmates, friends from the 2000 batch? Are you all still in touch? Do you all meet? Are they still good friends for you?
This is what I keep joking around, that I took up commerce and didn't go the conventional way of taking science. Do your engineering, end up in the US. So it's very easy to have a reunion in the US with the Padma guys than in Chennai. Yeah. So in Chennai, we are maybe 3-4 of us from the whole 12th, 10th, 11th, the 12th standard. So very few of us are back here, but we do keep in touch. And we happen to be parents also of the school.
So you mentioned that you are now a parent. So what difference are you seeing from now versus when you were in school?
The values are the same. The values haven't changed. So that is what we discussed. Even my wife has been in Aluminus. My brother is an alumnus. My wife's brother has been an alumnus. So we're all from, we've all been from Psbb. Of course, there's a management change. Mrs. YGP was there now. Sheila ma'am is taking care. But the values are kept intact. The way the kids are brought up by the teachers, the whole management, and everything is pretty much the same. So I can clearly see my kids are also growing up in the same way. How I grew up, the kind of exposure they have, let's say the all-roundedness in their character is very well grown. So I'm really happy with the way how the school is, taking up.
I want to ask you, one last question. But before that, last time when we were speaking, I remember you had mentioned this slightly funny, anecdote about school, that throughout your school time, nobody could say that you ever were got copying in an exam, right? So tell us about that.
As I told you, I was writing the exams alone.
You were writing all your exams alone.
Not that way. It's not that I didn't copy. There were times when I copied. But yes, those are all the unit tests and...
No. I think the point here is that the school kind of accommodated this fact that you could, like you mentioned, you could write your exams separately, and if there was a tournament, if there was practice, you could accommodate that.
Yeah. And at the same time, all that they were asking me was, I get 50 to 60 marks, above.
Keep the standard.
Keep it there so that, it's easy for us also to. So in that bargain, as I said, it was easy for me to push myself to get those marks.
Right. You guys were lucky because you were in TP Road and Nungambakam, and unlike us in KK Nagar, you got to see Mrs. YGP up close a lot more. I don't know if she ever actually taught a class for you, but you would have seen her in the corridors, and that scare that is usually there when you know that she's coming to your class. How much of an inspiration for you personally has Mrs. YGP?
During school, of course, we were more scared about Mrs. YGP. Yes. But only after I went out of school and when I saw the outside world, did I understand what I had got. When I started going into college, when I started seeing kids from other schools, and as I grew up as a sports person and saw the world by itself, and still could understand the kind of visionary Mrs. YGP was, and the kind of upbringing that we were brought up with, the kind of values that you were taught, to the kind of tradition that was going on in the school, my respect for her and the school just grew multifold.
Right.
Just grew multifold, and that is one of the main reasons I wanted my kids also to come back to the school and grow up in this kind of environment. As I was saying, when we are there, we don't.
Yeah, you don't realize it
you
that
don't
much.
realize it. But when you just look back, as you grow older and you look back at it, that's when you actually realize that we were gifted to be in the presence of Mrs.
Definitely. So, Sharath, today, for today's kids, today's parents, today a lot of kids, like you mentioned earlier, have aspirations of playing sport. PSBB is, of course, one of the institutions where there's a great opportunity. You have great coaches for multiple sports, whether it's cricket, football, table tennis, all of it. What would be your kind of advice or thought process to share with the kids and parents of today, especially the ones who are aspiring to play professional sport?
All I would tell them is, for the parents, is give the kids the exposure, because, most of the times the kids are not being exposed to these kind of other fields, because we're still concentrating a lot more on the academics. Of course, academics is important, but at the same time, sports or, art and culture, everything is very, very necessary for the kid to grow up with multidimensional, values or understanding of the society. So, all I would tell them is give the kid the exposure, give the kid the time for them to figure out which kind of sports do they like, or which kind of what can be their hobby or their passion. And if they're able to grow up on those passions or their hobbies, it'll just help them do well in their mainstream jobs, whatever they're doing.
Right.
Because you always need something to fuel your so that you do well in your professional life.
Correct.
Also. So, of course, play sports. Sport is healthy for body and mind.
Correct.
I still remember there are days when during exam time, my dad would still take me to the practice hall and just play for an hour.
Yeah.
Because when I came back, my grasping power was better, my ability to focus was better, and I would finish the chapter. I was in a much better mood rather than just staying home.
That's very interesting, yeah.
So, mentally also it gave me the right kind of
The refresher.
Yes. So that I'm happy that I played my sport, and at the same time I'm preparing for my exams and my academic service.
Wonderful. Sharath Kamal, thank you very, very much. Thank you for sparing your time. And you have been doing amazing things. And I'm sure even more amazing things are going to happen for you in the world of table tennis in the coming years. So thank you for flying the PSBB flag high at a global, at a global level. Thank you very much. And thank you for sparing your time to be here in the very first episode of Our Glorious Aluminus.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And it's wonderful being associated with PSBB.
Thank you. Thank you.